One of the other things that folks often bring up when we're talking about microaggressions is that how do you know that the person meant to do what they said? Maybe it was just a coincidence, right? Where someone might clutch their purse, or Demetrius always shares a story about walking down the street with some other folks with their PhDs and someone leaning over and locking their door. I was giving a training to the police department earlier this year and shared that example. And one of the folks raised their hand and said, well, how do you know it wasn't just a coincidence? And that's the tricky part about microaggressions, and in particular, the micro insults and micro assaults. You don't know, and that's part of the problem, right? If you have this heightened sensitivity because these things happen to you on a regular basis, when something was just a coincidence, you just don't know. And we'll talk more about that in session number 3 when we talk about minority stress theory and the way in which this sort of constant heightened alert for racism, sexism, homophobia that you might encounter, and the impact that that has on your life over time. We'd like to also talk about recognizing microaggressions and the messages that they send. The taxonomy of microaggressions is outlined and in your Canvas course. There are the types of microaggressions, the messages that they send, and then ways that we can learn to eliminate them from our vocabulary. So if you take a look at the module, you'll be able to see that handout. It'll be helpful. We're going to share just a few of those today in the interest of time. But traditional gender role prejudicing and stereotyping is one type of microaggression that happens. An example is being labeled an assertive female supervisor and being called a bitch while describing a male counterpart as a forceful leader. And the message is that women are out of line when they're assertive or direct. Similarly, the idea of being an alien in one's own land. So where are you really from? Or you speak English really well. And the message is that you're a perpetual foreigner in your own country. The idea of color blindness, the video speaker talked a little bit about this as well. The idea, or when you say, when I look at you, I don't see color, and the message is assimilate to the dominant culture. It also sends the message of denying the significance of a person of color's racial and ethnic experience or their history. And the idea of criminality, which I talked about just a second ago with Demetrius and his colleagues. If, for example, a white person clutches their purse or checks their wallet or reaches over and locks their door when a Black or Latinx person approaches. And the message is, you're going to steal, you're poor, you do not belong. And that I expect you to do harm. And LGBTQI+, lots of examples. Isn't this just a phase? I love you, but I don't love your sin. I don't think LGBTQ people are entitled to special rights, or the age-old, I knew you were gay. And the message is that your identities are a choice.